Oh my god, sorry, I didn't see her. I should have known about that shot of tequila.
Burns strong.
Yes, it does, and my ex is here and he didn't treat me very well. I'm just emotional.
Everyone, no matter where they start out, has certain fundamental rights and freedoms that must be upheld. That's not over.
Oh my god, that's so true.
And I know this is an uncertain time. I'm clear-eyed about that. I know you're clear-eyed about it. And it feels heavy. Don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did, and you have the same purpose that you did. And you have the same ability to engage and inspire. So don't ever let anybody or any circumstance take your power from you. We have become lifelong friends.
I didn't mean to take the mickey with that one. I just wanted to make a point because during Harris's campaign, there was a lot of speculation during certain interviews that she seemed drunk. And in her latest address to her voters, it really comes across more than ever that she seems to be drinking. I'm going to cover more about the Democrats' blame game that's going on and also the Australian press very strangely attacking Joe Rogan. But first, let's just have a quick look at Harris's address.
That you're not going to get knocked down. And you're in this fight. And you're in it for all the right reasons. And I know that about you. It's why you're part of this call right now and all the work that you did over those 107 days and even before. That's your nature. And the outcome of this election obviously is not what we wanted. It is not what we worked so hard for. But I am proud of the race we ran. And your role in this was critical. What we did in 107 days was unprecedented. Think about the coalition that we built, and we were so intentional about that. You would hear me talk about it all the time, being a daughter of parents who are active in the civil rights movement, and our understanding that the strength of our country will be a function of our willingness to put in the work, and that we will do that work with a sense of joy, yes. And it means so much to me and to Governor Walz that you knocked on doors, you called friends, you called in favors. You said, hey, I showed up at your softball game. Now I need you to show up at the campaign office. You put in the time. It was personal for you. And you gave all that you could to support our campaign. Because of your efforts, get this, we raised an historic $1.4 billion, almost $1.5 billion from grassroots supporters alone, the most in presidential campaign history. The work must continue of reminding ourselves that we have an ability to stay engaged in a way that will make a difference. The work that you all did, it's going to have lasting effect. Again, I'll say, the election didn't turn out like we wanted it to. Certainly not as we planned for it to. But understand that the work we put into it was about empowering people. That's the spirit with the work we did. Our spirit and our work was about saying that it is a strength that we each have to lift people up, as opposed to beating people down.
What do you think? Do you think that she seems drunk during this? To me, it really does. It really does come across like that. The reason I said in the beginning that I'm not really trying to take the piss out of her is because, it genuinely does come across to me that she is drunk here, and I hope she doesn't have a problem, because obviously you wish that on nobody. But it does speak to the fact that she wouldn't have been an ideal leader. And it's strange. The comment section is filled with people singing her praises and people who still believe she would have been a great leader. And I do find it baffling that people in the comment section who follow her and, who support her, they don't seem to notice anything strange about her behaviour. And what they're repeatedly bringing up is the joy of the Harris and Walz campaign. Now, in my opinion, it was an inappropriate time for joy, because The world is not a joyful place at the moment. There's a lot of stuff going on. In my opinion, a joyful campaign is just about escapism. Now, the Democrats are still flailing around trying to figure out what went wrong with their campaign, whilst basically doing everything they can to ignore what went wrong and stick their head in the sand. We can see an example of this here, where Harris's campaign managers address some of the issues in a podcast.
Questions were small and processy and about like
dumb.
They were not informing a voter who was trying to listen to learn more or to understand. And I'm not here to say that the whole system was focused on us incorrectly. I'm just saying, like, again, of the things we need to explore as we move forward as a campaign and as a country, that does a disservice to voters. And, I think back and think we should have signaled more of our strategy early on about podcasts and who we were trying to reach. But we had a limited amount of time to reach the people we were trying to reach, and we were trying to go to them. But being up against a narrative that we weren't doing anything, or we were afraid to have interviews, is completely and also took hold a little bit. And we just gave us another thing we had to fight back for that Trump never had to worry about.
They just keep making excuses, really, referencing repeatedly the short amount of time that they had to prepare. They still managed to cram in a whole lot of spending in that time, but I won't say anything about it. Whatever reason they give for it not being successful, in the end, in my opinion, it always comes down to the fact that they didn't have policies to run on. A lot of the time it actually came across like they just wanted you to vote for Harris because she was a woman, she's black, she's young, and that was it. When I step into the mind of the Democrat Party at that time, I'm kind of wondering, were they like, women will vote for her because they want to see a woman president, and black people will vote for her because they want to see a black president, and then everyone else will vote for her because they don't want to come across as racist and misogynist? I don't know, was that kind of summarizing it well? So, and then in Australia, Joe Rogan gets attacked by the Australian press, whilst they very bewilderingly also try to figure out what is the key to his success. We want to be like him. We want to denounce him, but we also want to be like him.
I have a question about Joe Rogan, and you've sort of touched on elements of this in the US. He's obviously the world's most popular podcast host. He has 3 billion listeners. He's sort of managed to successfully capture that bro market in America. And his influence is such that in the wake of the US election, the Democrats have said that one of Kamala Harris's mistakes was that she didn't appear on his program. So I'm just wondering if you had any observations about what's behind the Joe Rogan effect, how you believe he's managed to so successfully capture this huge market. And then for us here in Australia, how would or should the ABC be going about capturing that kind of audience?
Look, I'm not sure that I'm the right person to respond to that question. I am not a consumer or enthusiast about Mr. Rogan and his work.
Shocking.
I am not one of the 3 billion, and I'm unlikely to be 3 billion and one anytime soon. I think people like Mr. Rogan prey on people's vulnerabilities. They prey on fear. They prey on anxiety. They prey on all of the elements that contribute to uncertainty in society, and they entrepreneur fantasy outcomes and conspiracy outcomes as being a normal part of social narrative. I personally find it deeply repulsive, and to think that someone has such remarkable power in the United States is something that I look at in disbelief. I'm also absolutely in dismay that this can be a source of public entertainment when it's really treating the public as plunder for purposes that are really quite malevolent.
It's absolutely absurd, and it's kind of funny. There's a group of people who, in my opinion, they've just been left behind. They are still living in 2005, and they don't realize that the world has surpassed them. It's just passed them by. And right now they are dinosaurs. People like Joe Rogan or Elon Musk just scares them, and they just cannot wrap their minds around it. It's baffling to me, but it's funny because I'm looking at them baffled and then they're looking at Joe Rogan baffled. But really, I just think that the world has passed them by and they haven't caught up yet. But this is the future. They're going to have to figure it out, or they're just going to be left behind. The comment section was very funny in this one. Let me just get it up. So Joe Rogan goes, lol, what? And then, what is behind Joe Rogan's success and how can we get that success? Lol. I don't watch Joe Rogan. Now let me spread the most wild lies imaginable about his content. They hate it that people can just talk about stuff. Well, that's all from me for today. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and like, comment, share, anything like that. It really helps me out and I really appreciate it. Also, please share your opinion on all this stuff. It's just so important to share your thoughts. That's something that I've realized more than ever in the last 4 years. So exercise your right to free speech and keep sharing. Thank you. See you next time.